Welcome to the Biz Doctor Podcast, my love letter to business owners the world over. I'm your host, Lauren Goldstein, award-winning business consultant and advisor fondly nicknamed the Biz Doctor by my clients. I help business owners who are burning the candle at both ends diagnose what is actually keeping them buried in the day-to-day busy work, and then formulate a treatment plan to adjust their business and team to fit them, so they can take a breath and a vacation and have more fun making a bigger impact than ever. So grab your favorite beverage and your earbuds and let's dive into our latest episode. Have you ever looked around at other business owners who have similar businesses to you that seem to be doing so much better or more successful or running easier than yours and wondered what the heck you're doing wrong? If you answered yes, you're not alone. I was very much in this camp for a few years, banging my head against the wall and wondering why it seemed like such an uphill battle. Until I discovered that each entrepreneur has a unique winning formula that, if left unsolved, will be the difference between struggling, like I was, and maybe you are, and sustainable success. When I learned what my winning formula was, it changed everything, which is why I want to let you in on this secret on today's episode. Welcome back to the Biz Doctor Podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Goldstein, and today I'm going to share with you a framework that will help you hit the easy button in your business and breathe a much-needed sigh of relief. Let me introduce you to wealth dynamics, which I lovingly call entrepreneur dynamics. So this is an amazing assessment that I discovered probably 6 or so years ago. And the reason I love it so much is it's because it's East meets West. So it takes all of the assessments that we're used to, like DISC, Strength Finders, Predictive Index, Culture Index, all of those. And it takes the great things about that and it merges it with the East. Because in the East, as we know, they're not a bunch of workaholics. They're all about flow. And so it takes those together, merges them into this really wonderful, comprehensive profile into who you are and what makes you tick so that you can get where you want to go faster. It's all about leveraging your unique CEO profile and innate ways of being to get to the success and flow faster. Plus, it's a foolproof formula to create the leanest and most effective team for you. They also have this really fascinating equation of wealth equals value times leverage, which I'll talk about in a second. But back to wealth dynamics and why this assessment is so cool. And honestly, why this is your unique formula that will unlock everything is the analogy I use is tuning a radio. Now, I know I probably just dated myself, so just go with me. Let's say your favorite kind of music is country music. And instead of being on 98.5, you're on 102.7, which is a hip hop station. Now, excluding maybe hearing Jelly Roll or Taylor Swift every 50 songs or so, the chances of you hearing a country song is pretty slim. The same is true for if you or your team are operating out of your zone of genius. You're not tuned into the right radio station. Lightning, aka success, might strike once or twice, but you're going to struggle getting into flow and instead spending a lot of your time being frustrated and unfulfilled. So this test, what it does is it helps you tune into your unique radio station. So you're not hearing songs you don't want to hear. You're not stuck on static. You're actually in flow. And I know flow is kind of like a woo-woo buzzword. So let me tell you what I think flow is. Flow is that moment where you feel like you're not actually working, or you're like, gosh, why do I get paid for this? It's so easy. It's so simple. Or your days just kind of, for lack of a better word, flow by or fly by. That's what flow is. It's where you feel like you are meant to do something and it's easy and it's simple. That's what this assessment and this framework and what I'm about to tell you is going to give you. Albert Einstein also said this, which I think really drives it home. Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it's stupid. And I think that's so poignant because as business owners, when we compare our behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel, sometimes it can feel like you're a fish trying to climb a tree and you just can't figure out why you can't get it to work better. And I don't know if that resonates with you or not, but I can tell you that the first 5 years of my business, so I've been doing this for 12 years, those first 5 years, it was a slog. I felt really frustrated. I felt like I just didn't know why it wasn't working as well as it could be working. Now, that's not to say that we weren't successful. We definitely were. We were profitable, all good things, but it felt hard. And I just didn't want to have it feel hard anymore. And so I was always searching for things. I was searching for new mentors or masterminds or new ways of doing things. But it wasn't until somebody told me what my unique winning profile is, which is a mechanic, which I'll talk about in a second, that it really clicked for me. When I discovered my profile and dove in, like it really gave me permission to stop building my business like what it should be like. Again, I don't know if this resonates with you, but what I was finding when I was really struggling was I was looking at other businesses that were similar to me and trying to build it like the person who started those businesses. So businesses that I thought were similar to me way back in the beginning, which was a little bit different than what we're doing now, where we were a mile wide and an inch deep. Now we're a mile deep and an inch wide in teams and operations. But in the beginning, we did a lot of in the trench work and operations that connected to various and sundry parts of the business. So I looked at people like Marie Forleo or Amy Porterfield. Those people who were building those businesses had different CEO profiles than I did. And so me as a mechanic trying to build a star business, which you'll hear about the profiles in a second, was why it was so hard, because I was trying to build a business that wasn't a fit for my profile and my innate ways of being. What I love about wealth dynamics is truly that it gives you this crystal clear, simple way to know yourself and know the quickest path to flow and success and sustainability and, dare I say, fun. I want you to picture a square. Now, if you're driving, obviously don't close your eyes. Imagine with your eyes open. But for those of you that can close your eyes and picture a square. Now, on the top square, there is the first energy, which is the dynamo energy. So this is the spring energy. Think of the element of wood. It's all about innovation. The question that people in these three profiles of mechanic is half and half, which I'll talk about in a second, but mechanic, creator, and star, those energies ask the question of what? So it's all about innovation. Now, if you go around the square clockwise, the next one on the right side is blaze energy. This is summer energy. The element is fire. It's all about magnifying. It's the question that this profile asks is who. So the star bridges the wood, dynamo, spring energy with the fire, blaze, summer energy. So these are the people that are really good connectors. They are really love sales and marketing versus the dynamo people. They're innovative. They're creating products. They're the people that I swear have 1,000,001 ideas. They also tend to have squirrel moments. So now as we continue around the square, on the bottom is our tempo. This is earth energy. That's the element. It's autumn energy. That's the season. These are the people that are all about timing. So these are the fulfillment people, the project managers, the investors, the people who like Warren Buffett is actually one of these profiles. So we've got, if we start at the top left corner, we've got a mechanic, then a creator, then a star at the top right corner, then a supporter, and then a deal maker at the bottom right corner. And then next to the deal maker, we've got a trader. And next to the trader on the bottom left corner, we've got an accumulator. So Warren Buffett is in this tempo energy because he's able to sense timing and read markets and things like that. Now, if we go to the left-hand side of the square, above accumulator, we've got a lord, and then we've, of course, got the mechanic again. So the mechanic is bridging the what energy. And now as we come over to the left-hand side, the how energy. So this is the steel energy. The season is winter. The element is metal. This is all about multiplication. The question they ask is how. They also ask the question of how can this happen without me? So it's a lot about systemization, automation, crossing T's, dotting I's, details, versus in the blaze energy on its mirrored side, on the right-hand side, it's about how can this happen with me? So Oprah is a great example. She's aptly named a star because everything Oprah does has her name on it. So people over on the steel side, these are your finishers. These are the people that are going to get the project across the finish line versus the dynamo energies. Those are the people that are the greatest at starting things, not good at finishing. So the mechanic, which I am, bridges the what and the how. So that means I'm one of the very rare profiles that can take something from a creative idea to actually a finished product, which is a very valuable member of your team. So with these energies, again, we've got the dynamo on the top, the tempo on the bottom. When you understand how every person on this planet fits into one of these primary energies and has a wing. So for example, my primary energy is mechanic, but my wings are lords on the left and creators on the right. So that's again why I'm able to bridge the gap between what, the idea, and the how, which is finishing it. If you understand that everyone in the world, on your team, in your life is one of these energies, you can better communicate with them, but you can also leverage yourself better. So something that's actually really funny, this is a slight segue, but when I'm talking to my clients, and every one of my clients gets this assessment, this is like the very first place that we start. So when I'm going over this and I'm looking at their team, because their team, we give their team the assessment too, and we look at how they compare. That's one of the secret sauces, if you will, to building the right team around you. I have to tell this story about people in the dynamo energy versus the tempo energy and how they make decisions and tolerate risk. So the dynamo energy, those people love taking risks. They need like 5% of information to go and they'll just run with something. Conversely, the tempo energy, they are very, very risk averse and they need like 95 to 99% to go and make a decision. So trying to keep those two people talking during a project can sometimes be challenging because the dynamo energies are like, come on, we don't need more details. We don't need all this stuff. Let me just run like the wind. And the tempo people are like, no, we haven't thought through all the contingencies. And so if you know this with yourself and your team, especially with yourself when you're building a business, you can make sure that you're not getting ready to get ready just for the sake of getting ready. And conversely, not just, leaving a wake of unfinished ideas in your path. Now, the other fun thing that I like to talk about with this square is the difference between the extrovert and introvert energy. So I know in psychology, extrovert, introvert is where you get your energy. In this context, though, it's actually how you process information. So on the left side of the square, if we draw a line straight down the middle, on the left side, they are introverts. On the right side, they're extroverts. So this means that people on the left side are going to make decisions based on past data, information, internal rumination. Versus the right side, they're going to make decisions based on talking it out, which is another reason why meetings cause a lot of friction in teams, is if you make the people who process internally sit through external processing meetings, it creates so much friction. So my advice to you is that once you know your team, to let the people who internally process, if there's nothing else relevant for them in the meeting, let them go. Let them go do their thing and they'll come to a decision, and let the people who need to talk it out, talk it out. I hope you're starting to see how valuable this is, because it's not only going to help you make sure that you stay out of the weeds, it's going to help you see if you're a starter or a finisher, an introvert versus an extrovert, but it's also going to help you see where you should focus most of your time. So like for me, for example, most of the things that I focus my time on are perfecting processes or creative ideas, because those are my two zones of genius. And so when you understand this unique winning formula, what it actually does is it allows you to very clearly see the areas that you might be weak in and build a team around you where your weaknesses are their strengths. So for me as a mechanic, the secret formula is you go 2 over and then 3 over. And those profiles will overlap you to create 100% in theory. I mean, it'll never be a perfect 100%, but a perfect square of energy. So each energy, the wood energy, the blaze energy, the tempo energy, and the steel energy, when you do this formula, it will make sure all of those energies are covered. So for me, my first hire would be a star. And that's because I'm really, to be honest, I'm much more comfortable behind the scenes, which is, I know, ironic because I have a podcast. But that would be the person that would be my first hire because their energy, their strength of sales and marketing is one of my weaknesses. And then if I go 3 from that, then it would be a trader, which is like the number one tempo fulfillment person. And I can tell you, because I've obviously seen my profile, I'm a 0% tempo. I don't have very much blaze energy either. So obviously having somebody on my team that's really good at timing is critical because my team, I do have somebody on my team that is timing, but it's pretty funny because sometimes they'll say, Lauren, that thing that you said would take a couple of hours took us 5 minutes and vice versa. So it's very important and I think beneficial when you understand what you're really good at and what you're not and build the right team around you. Now, just like every person has these unique energies, every business has these unique energies and seasons as well, which I think is so important. Because if you look at other businesses, they might be in an autumn season, but you might still be in your spring season. So what this looks like, again, if you're picturing a square, the top, just like with Dynamo, is all about innovation and strategy. So that's innovating, extending, enhancing. Value is packaged and delivered. So this is about products. And then on the side, you've got marketing communication. This is also people. So this is team, collaboration, partnerships, magnifying. On the bottom, you've got services, which is adding, extending, and enhancing as well. But it's really about fulfillment. So it's about service and delivery. And then on the left-hand side, this is all about how leverage is increased. This is systems and processes. Again, asking that question, how can this happen without me? So automation, systematization, standardization, multiplication, measurement, and control. And so that's when you, again, understand the energies of your business. This is how you create wealth because every business is going to go through all of those seasons where you create something, then you sell something, then you deliver something, then you perfect something. And sometimes you get through all of those seasons very quickly, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time. But if you don't understand the wealth equation of wealth equals value times leverage, then it's going to be that uphill battle or feel like you're pushing a snowball up a hill where it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and seemingly harder and harder. Before we dive into the next bit, I want to take a second to share with you something that I've seen drastically change businesses and teams for the better. Imagine waking up every morning with a team that knows exactly what is expected of them and how to achieve success without you having to micromanage them. Imagine how much time and dollars you will save by hiring the right team member from the start. Not to mention getting the most out of every current member of your team. That is what's possible with our tried and tested tool, the Golden Key Scorecard. The scorecard is a simple, impactful, and fillable tool for managing your team, ditching inefficiency, and I guarantee will help you stop playing whack-a-mole chasing team docs all over the place. It's as easy as filling out a form. If you want to get out from under your business, shifting from business operator to business owner, and take your business to the next level while reclaiming your time, then our Golden Key Scorecard is just the ticket. Our scorecard provides the time-tested framework and process to get you and your team out of the weeds and into a well-oiled machine that can scale without you. It's time for you to run your business instead of the other way around. Become an expert in this critical piece of the foundation to creating a high-performing team. Download the Golden Key Scorecard for free at goldenkeypartnership.com/go. Now back to the show. So what does wealth equals value times leverage really mean? What does this equation mean? Let's break it down. So first and foremost, I think wealth is pretty self-explanatory. Whatever you define wealth as, that's what this is. For me, it's about profitability, revenue, having way more than I could spend, et cetera, and value times leverage. So value is actually the way that you measure value. So listen close, because this is probably something that you've never heard about. So if we look at value and leverage in your business, value is measured by trust. The outcome of value is revenue. Now, leverage is measured by flow, which outcome is profit. So again, flow, I talked about at the very beginning, is ease and simplicity. And it's also, is your business running as efficiently as possible? Because if you're leaking team or time or revenue and friction points, then obviously your flow is going to decrease. But if your flow is at full throttle, then your profitability will also continue to grow. If your business is in that photo finish of every time we make more money, then we have more expenses, it's because you haven't created enough leverage. So sustainable value is created by measuring and managing trust. Sustainable leverage is created by measuring and managing flow. So when we look at attraction and expansion and what actually leverage and value break down to, when we look at the highest value something you can give, it's probably the highest intimacy and time. So that means either one-on-one face-to-face client work or one-on-one virtual. And then as we move down this scale of value and leverage, the less value you have, it goes from one-to-one to small groups, to events, to webinars, to online products, to partners. That's creating less and less value from an intimacy and time standpoint, but it's creating more and more leverage. So again, as the Biz Doctor, one of my main goals is helping my business owners get out from underneath their business. And we do that through leverage. So we can leverage it either by product, process, or team. And so if we look at things that probably have the highest amount of leverage, that would be partnerships, online products, things that you're not exchanging time for money, which is very helpful if you want to build wealth. Because one of the things that I see a lot, especially with my service-based business owners, is as the primary service provider, there's only a certain amount of hours in the day, week, month, year, especially if you want to have a life. And I'm a big proponent of building your business around your life, not your life around your business. So if you think about how to create true wealth in your business and your life, the first place to start is by understanding your unique entrepreneurial profile so that you can create more flow by building the right team around you, but also understanding the flow of your business. And when you're able to create and maintain high value, so high intimacy, but also high leverage, that's when you're going to start creating true wealth in your business and your life. Because I know, tell me if this resonates, as a service provider, sometimes our value, our worth, our identity is so tied around our business and the services that we offer that sometimes we think if we create leverage or products or services where we're not the focal point, that somehow we're going to be a cork in an ocean floating around without purpose. Trust me, I've been there. I've also advised and consulted a lot of CEOs who've had similar, challenges, perspective shifts, mindset shifts, identity crises, call it what you will. The truth is that you can help far more people when you detach your time from money and start creating more leverage, more value in different ways outside yourself. One of my friends many, many years ago called this being the surgeon in the room, which I know is very appropriate for the Biz Doctor. A surgeon, when they're doing surgery on you, let's be honest, they see you for 5 or 10 minutes before the surgery to explain what's happening, introduce themselves, etc. Otherwise, excluding the 10 minutes they check on you post-op, you don't see them. And when they're in the operating theater, they're not washing all the implements and tools and all of that. They're not doing that. They're standing wherever they need to be to do the procedure, and they're saying scalpel, forceps, etc. They even get dressed by somebody else. So I hope that today's episode, and again, to go back to why I wanted to share this episode with you, my hope is that this gives you a perspective shift to be the surgeon in the room of your business, to really get clear on what your unique strengths are and the team you need to build around you. And also really understanding that it doesn't always have to be you delivering it. And in fact, if you want to create true wealth in your business and your life, it starts with creating leverage. And that can be through your people, your processes, or your products. But it all starts with getting to know yourself better so that you can build the right business, team, etc. around you. That's it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening in. If anything I shared sparked something in you, we'd love for you to share this episode with your friends and fellow business owners. And don't forget to subscribe so you're the first to get notified when our next episode is live and ready for your ears. And I'd also love to hear from you. So let's connect. Tag or DM me on Instagram at It's Lauren Goldstein or LinkedIn or wherever you hang out on the interwebs. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time. Listening to the Biz Doctor Podcast. Now, I like to say that friends don't let friends WebMD your business. So if you're wondering what your next steps could be, here are some options for you. No matter what, head to the show notes or to my website, goldenkeypartnership.com, for some impactful resources to support you getting out from under your business. That's also where you'll find the links to learn more about our services and how we support business owners, just like you, who are ready to make the successful jump from business operator in the trenches to visionary business owner with more freedom and flexibility. All of that info is on our website, so pop on over to learn more or get in touch. goldenkeypartnership.com. Finally, if you love the Biz Doctor Podcast, I'd be so grateful if you would share it with your friends and network and give us a 5-star rating or review wherever you listen to your podcast.
This is Story Studio Network.